Afternoon. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners back to order from recess for our afternoon business. We'll start off with our number 7, our Public Works item, which is order number 25102804 in the matter of surrendering 2 county roads to the City of Eugene with a public hearing. The purpose of this hearing is being held pursuant to ORS 373.270 to allow for public testimony prior to the Board of Commissioners' action of approving or denying the City of Eugene's request to obtain jurisdiction portions of 2 county roads. If approved, the board can adopt a final order to surrender the 2 subject roads to the City of Eugene. Now I'll call for some disclosures to our board members for any ex parte contacts or absentations due to conflicts of interest for ex parte contacts or biases. I'll start with Commissioner Buck. Do you have any ex parte biases or contacts?
None.
Commissioner Trigger?
None.
And Vice Chair Senega?
None.
And I have none either. And our Commissioner Pat Farr is out, excused absence. So now I will formally open the public hearing. And we'll have a report by our staff, and Trevor Ross, our Deputy County Surveyor, will join us at the staff table and give us the particulars on this item, sir. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Level, Commissioners. I'm here in the matter of the surrender of portions of 2 county roads to the City of Eugene. The city has requested Lane County's surrender jurisdiction of the roads pursuant to City Resolution 5453, dated July 14th, 2025, attached as Exhibit C to the agenda item material provided to you. The board approved today's public hearing on August 26, 2025, pursuant to Order 25-08-26-12, or ORS 373.270 requires a public hearing for road surrenders to city jurisdictions to be set to allow testimony to be entered into the public record prior to a decision by the board. Public notice of this matter was posted on September 3rd, 2025, meeting all statutory requirements for public notice of public hearings per ORS Chapter 368. The segments of 2 county roads are all located within City of Eugene limits and consist of approximately 0.77 miles of road right-of-way collectively. The 2 county roads are Crow Road, County Road number 988. Crow Road was first established as a county road in 1925 with a 50-foot right-of-way width. The section of Crow Road herein proposed to be surrendered to the city is approximately 0.66 miles in length and is generally located between West 11th Avenue and westerly to the current UGB. Green Hill Road, County Road number 36. Green Hill Road was established as a county road in 1931 with a 40-foot right-of-way width. A portion of the road affected by these proceedings was altered in 1976 and currently has a variable right-of-way width, with the majority of this portion being 80 feet in width. The section of Green Hill Road herein proposed to be surrendered to the city is approximately 0.11 miles in length and is generally located between West 11th Avenue and southerly to the current UGB line. This concludes my presentation. At this time, I would like to turn the matter over to the board for continued discussion or to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Trevor, very much. At this point, we are open to public testimony, and I'm seeing no public testimony in Harris Hall, and I'm not seeing any online. So we will close the public hearing.
Chair, we do have someone joining us online. We will need to ask if they wish to give public comment.
Okay. We'll unclose the public hearing.
For those joining us virtually, if you would like to give public comment during this public hearing, please raise your virtual hand now. I do not see any hands raised, Chair. I'll return it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you again. Then we'll close the public hearing portion of this hearing. And are there any discussion or comments from the board for staff? Seeing none. Trevor, do you have anything else to add to that? Seems like a pretty simple deal.
Pretty simple deal.
All right, well, good. I appreciate the presentation. So now we have an option board. We can approve the order as written with a motion, or we can do something else. I'm waiting for a motion, Vice Chair.
I move to approve Order 25-10-28-04 as written.
Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved by Vice Chair to approve Order 25102804 to surrender render portions of 2 county roads to the city of Eugene, and seconded by Commissioner Buck. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, let's vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner Farr absent excused. And that's how we wrap it up. Good deal. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate your time, sir. Good work on this matter. All right, Mr. Mokrzycki, it's back to you, sir, for some commissioner business. Any announcements from our commissioners or any remonstrance from the lengthy public comments we had this morning? Or any committee reports? Yes, Commissioner Buck.
I'll share a committee report, which it's going to roll into a potential board assignment for your consideration. So I am currently on the EMS funding task force. So that particular task force has gotten a few meetings under their belt. We've been talking about what's been working, what's not working functionally within that space, long-term challenges, threats to sustainability. And then more recently, we are starting to do some engagement with our community partners to do listening sessions. So that's really the first 3 board meetings that we've had. And part of that is listening to those folks that are on the ground actually serving the community. It's important that we hear from them because they can let us know what is actually functionally working, because we don't want to take away the portions of the system that function. But then talk about the actual reality on the ground. So with that, the partners have requested to have a seat at the EMS Funding Task Force Committee, a union representative, which seemed quite reasonable since they're the one actually serving the community every day. And so I respectfully request from the board that we ask staff to put together a board order so at our next meeting they could be added as a seat on the committee.
Any comments,
No,
Commissioner?
I think it's great if we're going to be talking about emergency services to have an emergency services technician or firefighter on that board. I think that's an excellent perspective. Thanks.
Great. So that kind of merged 2 items, but I think
Oh,
functionally
that was
makes
well done.
sense.
Mr. Mokrzycki, did you catch all that specificity there? Do we need to repeat it?
Would you mind repeating it so I get it right?
Sure, specifically to add a seat on our EMS funding task force for a union representative, which is likely the firefighters union.
And so we would bring that back
Just as
for
a
an
board order.
appointment as a consent calendar item? Yeah, okay. Got it.
Yes, Commissioner Trieger.
Well, in a similar vein, it's sort of a hybrid committee report and assignment request. And I'll give, when we get to assignment requests, I'll give more of a detailed assignment request. But
We're running free and loose today. You can just
Well-
merge them in if you'd like.
Well, I serve on what's called the Courthouse Security Advisory Committee, and that's a statutorily required committee that the PJ, the presiding justice, asked me to serve on. So again, speaking of hybrid, it's very much a hybrid. The circuit courts are a function of the state, but the county has a very prescriptive and specific role in ensuring facilities for the courts, the circuit court within which the circuit courts operate. And one of the Security Advisory Committee's tasks is budget oversight, and there is a specific security fund that covers things like the screeners out in front of the courthouse here and at the Juvenile Justice Center. And that fund, like so many of our funds, is in distress. And so I would like for the assignment to be that we have a work session. And I can email the I broke it down into sort of 6 components, but to read it out loud, this work session would first just be a grounding and overview in what's called the grand bargain, because not everyone maybe is familiar with that. It's decades old, but it is what outlines the respective roles of the states, the circuit court, and the county's obligation to operate those state circuit courts. A review of how historically that security fund has been funded and managed, as well as how the state overall views their role in funding security operations in the circuit courts. A review of how we have been doing that here, but how some other counties are meeting their safety obligations for their circuit courts. And then a recent history of some of the specific safety concerns in the court, including a list of weapons that have been detected through the screening here and at our juvenile facility. And then some strategies to decrease expenses or increase revenue to pay for these critical security functions and recommendations for our next steps. I know on this Security Advisory Committee, there's court staff, there's judges, there's attorneys, and the sheriff and the DA also participate. So I imagine we'll want to have some representatives from across that system at our work session as well, or at least helping to prepare for it. So I know that's a big ask in the timeline I'm about to ask for, which is that we try to accomplish this within the next handful of meetings so that the full board has the grounding I do in the structure of the county's role in helping the circuit courts function to fulfill a state obligation prior to our funding priority conversation, because I think it will really roll into a lot of that public safety task force funding conversation, our funding priorities, as well as general budget planning for the coming year, which I know starts in December. So we only have a handful of meetings left this calendar year. But if we could get that work session somehow magically scheduled in time so that everyone on this board has the information that I do about that the safety components of our circuit court functions and the county's obligations, I think that would really help us make some good decisions. Relative to some of our other budget issues, it's a fairly small dollar number, but it's very significant in its impact. So the report is the committee has been really focused on this distressed fund, and the assignment request is a work session on the function of our circuit courts, and specifically a focus on the safety funding for circuit court functions.
Yeah. Could we get it done, do you think, Mr. Mokryski, in that time frame?
Well, yes, I think so. I'm looking at, because we have some down weeks, and really we only, next week is set, and it's too tight to do it. So the last meeting in November is November 18th. That would be the earliest I think we could do it. We're down then for Thanksgiving. We have November 2nd, but I know will you be here on this 2nd?
Yeah, it's just that Wednesday morning, I'm waiting to hear if I have the opioid board on the 3rd. That may not happen.
And we have 3, so really we have 4 board meetings to be able to accomplish this before the end of the year.
But 3 before the funding priorities conversation. Or 4 before the.
Well, the 4th is the
16th.
Is the 16th,
Yes.
which is the same day. So 3 before, yes, yeah. So before December 16th, okay. And can I just ask who we're including, I would imagine, some court officials?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Rickoff serves, and Lauren Blythe, from a facilities perspective, also sits on the advisory. But I think Greg, because of his foot in 2 worlds of assistant county administrator of this building, but also the juvenile justice work. And I know presiding Judge McAlpin has offered to be present and helpful, and certainly Liz Rambo, she has all the history of that fund. And then the sheriff and the DA, the sheriff in particular, because there's a lot of integration between white shirts and what the sheriff's office provides for support in this building anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty shortened, we could just say work session on,
Court security.
Court security.
There you go.
Court security, circuit court functions and court security funding.
right,
Yeah, thank you.
okay, good deal. This is kind of like getting your health care, and by the end of the year, everything kind of gets jammed up on those last meetings of the year, so there you go.
Nobody has time for that either.
Yeah, exactly. Vice Chair, anything from you?
No, I think I'm good at this point.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mokriski, we have two reviews to go over.
Commissioner Buck's request to add a seat on the EMS Funding Task Force for a union representative. We'll bring that back for board action on consent. And then Commissioner Trieger's request for a work session on circuit court funding and court security specifically before December 16th.
All right, sounds good. Well, we do have a little bit of other business for us ahead. We've got our review assignment worksheet that we're going to do. And I believe, Jessica, are you going to do that online via Zoom, or are you going to do that just voice from the ceiling?
I was planning to share my screen. I'm having a moment of difficulty. If you just give me another
No worries.
moment.
We'll wait. Cue the Jeopardy music, please.
Had it for a second there. It is.
Okay, we see the schedule. Is that what we're supposed to see?
Excellent. Thank
Looks
you.
good.
How would we like to proceed? Should I just point to the first one on the screen and read it off, and
Well, I
we'll
think we
dive
should
in?
do a formal introduction for Jessica Gebb, our extraordinary board wrangler, who's going to make this presentation for all of our current and past board items that we're going to weed through and put some off the list and keep some on the list. So Jessica, go ahead.
Very good. The top of the list includes open board assignments that are yet to be scheduled or have been scheduled, and they are marked in either yellow or green. And then as we move to the very bottom of the log, you will see items that have no color in that second column. And those are items that I believe could be closed unless a commissioner has something to say regarding that item. Our first item on the list then was an assignment made in 2021 by Commissioner Trieger. And it was to bring back a discussion on committee process and what is the right and best path forward toward equity.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
do you have some information if you've talked with staff before I say anything next?
I do not have any updates on this item that have been given to me.
So I know Shayna is working on that sort of universal application form. She tells me that's approaching closed. I think I would like to keep this open until I get to talk with her whether that's going to come back to us to present. Because I think that was one of the components of achieving this. And if folks are okay with it being closed via email once I have that conversation, that's okay with me, rather than waiting for this to come back on our, I think we do this quarterly-ish, review open assignments, yeah. Does that work? Okay, people are nodding their
Yep.
head, that works. So I'll put that on my to-do list, Jessica, and then let you know.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and just for formality's sake on this process, just kind of go ad hoc. I'm not going to call on folks. Anytime you want to interject something, feel free.
And that goes for any staff updates for those that may be in the room. Second item on the log is legal clarification surrounding Lane County Historical Museum.
That
To make
is,
sure there is a complete review of the documentation and its collections.
yep, that is still open. I think it's important, but not high priority. So our Office of Legal Counsel's had a few other things keeping them busy, but I know that is still in Emily's portfolio and that she continues to work on that. So that is still open as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Third
So
item.
your mic, hang on just a minute, Jessica. County Counsel is, your mic is only push the button to be on, unlike the default of ours being on all the time. So
I was just going to add that I spoke with Ms. Fario, and she is working on this and still on her list, so just confirming that.
Thank you. The next item, have property manager look and analyze properties for zoning options, condition assessment, and projected costs for adequate remediation. There's more to this, and we had decided at our last review in April to keep it open.
Yeah, that was my item. We were keeping it open because of the Hennepin cases on foreclosures and all that is still kind of in flux. It's not quite settled yet. This is an item, if we needed to, we could certainly take it off and revisit it later, but if it's easy just to leave it on, we can certainly pick this back up when we get those decisions back.
I think we could, if you wanted to keep it on, just put a note that it's paused at the moment.
Sure, let's do that. We can just put it on as pause.
So we don't necessarily forget it.
Thank you. Next item, request to coordinate protocols about the role of commissioners in providing for the safety of staff and stakeholders. And we had decided in April to combine this with an additional, another board assignment that was made on April 8th. And I don't know if staff have any updates they wish to give.
I don't remember what that other combined.
The other combined one was April 8th, the request for work session exec for the county council's discretion to look up traditional uses and practices of remonstrance, statements before remonstrance, and et cetera. And joining us at the table is Ms. Judy Williams.
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners. Yes, my recollection was similar to yours, Chair. So we have done a couple of work sessions, as noted on the notes. So April of 2024. Our last work session was on October of 2024. And then the next step was kind of incorporating the working agreements into our annual, every January, you adopt the rules of conduct. And so we were updating the rules of conduct with board norms and weaving in the working agreements. And where this sits, I believe I was going to be presenting it to you. I think it was about the second week that Rob Bovet, our new county counsel at the time, was here. And so while we incorporated best practices into what these board norms would look like, he had several suggestions too. And so he's been a little bit busy, but I'm hoping to pick this up to potentially try and still get to, be the end of the year as you're normally adopting these in January. So hopefully that goal is to get you that by January. So it's moving forward, but.
Great. Well, let's keep it open until you're able to come back to us and then hopefully close it out then.
So my understanding is then, Ms. Williams, we're talking about maybe just wrapping this into our annual January thing come 2026.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item then was an assignment made by Commissioner Farr. And it might be in our best interest to not dive into this until we can hear from Commissioner Farr.
I think that would be good. Anything that Commissioner Farr's got on there, we should probably just go over with him one-on-one in the future. I believe Mr. Mokrice's got some meetings with him in the future. He could answer those questions for us and email that back.
Happy to take those to Commissioner Farr and then bring them back here to the board under announcements in a future meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, because some of them, sorry, this one, for example, is very, we did do this, but it should be, obviously it's up to the commissioner to say whether he felt that met the assignment, but it may be one like the one I offered that via email, it can just be removed rather than waiting for the next. Might ask him.
That's fine.
The mechanism for closing it if he's fine with closing it as well.
Okay, that will take us down to the board assignment dated February 25th, 2025, made by Commissioner Senega. Request for a work session on the Clean Lane project. And I can report that this item has been scheduled to return to the board on December 9th of this year.
Good.
Next item from March 11th of 25, made by Commissioner Buck, ask Eugene Airport staff to provide a 30-minute presentation to the board on the airport expansion project. And we've been having to delay this item because Catherine Stevens with the Eugene Airport needs to make a presentation to Eugene City Council, and that has not happened yet. she will be available to come present to the board after that presentation takes place, and we're waiting to hear when that will be.
Yeah, not to mention that the airport's expansion plans have changed twice in the last month.
Exactly, that's part of the complication. They have to report those changes to the city council. Another item from March 18th, 25, made by Commissioner Trieger. Return to the board with an update/discussion on the status of federal funding, particularly anything that has been suspended or put on hold.
Yeah, we had that, and then this is sort of the ongoing work of the federal transition and how, or the federal administration and how it impacts Lane County. I'm looking at our administrator, right? That's ongoing work, but the assignment is essentially able to be closed as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm getting that nod that yes, that will, when there is something notable, it will come back to us as a matter of course. Yeah, great. So yeah, that can be closed. Thank you, Jessica.
Next item, a board assignment made April 1st of 25, made by Commissioner Lovell, invite Lane Workforce Partnership to give a presentation to the board. And we have that presentation currently scheduled for February 3rd of 2026.
Okay, great.
Next item from April 8th of 2025, made by Commissioner Lovell, request a brief work session or executive session to look into traditional uses and practices of remonstrance.
Yeah, that's the one that was going to be conjoined with the one prior that we talked about. So that's probably a little bit on hold pause because of Council Bovet's workload.
I thought we did that one.
I mean, realistically, we could take that off and revisit that later. I think it's if we need to do that, that's fine with me.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, and Commissioner Buck's on with that too. So Jessica, let's go ahead and close that out.
Thank you. Next, board assignment made June 10th of 2025 by Commissioner Trieger. Have the county administrator and county council work with the agenda team to discuss how the board and county staff can be more responsive in real time regarding matters of county operations, policy, or practice raised in public comment.
Yeah, this connects a little bit to the other in that commissioners would often respond, but I think we have our rapid response protocol now, specifically for issues of hate and bias, so that's helpful. And I have just noticed as practice, our administrator listening at public comment, and when there is something that's been raised that he knows we've got an upcoming board meeting about or something, he makes it, communicates that out to the community as part of his announcements. So that's helpful. That gives me something I can send back to people via email and so on. So I think unless other folks on the dais want to keep that open, I am fine with closing that. But it is sort of also still an ongoing challenge.
So are you okay with closing that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good.
Next assignment made June 24th of 25, made by Commissioner Buck. Agenda team to schedule an initial high-level follow-up work session to the Public Safety Funding Task Force report with the intent to hold monthly work sessions thereafter. And we did hold that initial high-level work session, and we do have monthly sessions currently scheduled through the end of the year. Is that adequate to close this assignment, or do we want to keep it open?
No, I feel like until we've actually done some action items, I would keep it open. Yeah, okay. Let's keep it open and just note that it's ongoing work.
Thank you. Next assignment from June 24th of 25, made by Commissioner Lovell. Have staff help the board to update and establish procedures in our legislative priorities to better inform the board on positions and up-to-the-minute decisions our policy team is making during sessions.
Look at that. Our able and ready Mr. Steve Adams is approaching the the table with some information on that. Steve, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chair and Commissioners, thanks for the opportunity to update the board on this item. So there was an intent at the last legislative committee to put this on the agenda. You'll recall that there was a death in my family and we had to cancel that particular event. So we are scheduled to meet again before the end of this calendar year. I don't have the date right off the top of my head, but we will be bringing this back to the board at our next update for our legislative agenda for the 2026 short session.
All right. Well, we're sorry for your loss, and we thank you for keeping the tabs on this and scheduling ahead of time. Thank you very much. So Jessica, we'll keep that open until we have that report, and then we'll close it after that.
Very good. Thank you. Next assignment made July 22nd of 25 by Commissioner Lovell. Direct staff to return to the board with a work session to highlight the work or model of care of 3 to 4 local shelter/housing service providers. And we do have this provider panel scheduled for December 9th of this year.
Perfect. So if we've got it scheduled, do we want to close that out or wait till after it's finished?
I think I would wait until after it has happened.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Next assignment made July 22nd by Commissioner Buck. And this assignment has morphed a little bit since it was created. Initially, it was returned to the board with a work session on the possibility of creating a local preference policy for health and human services. And now that local preference policy would extend countywide for requests for proposals.
Commissioner Buck, was this the thing that you, when we were talking about the ESS service at the Navigation Center, you were talking about preferring first to look at local entities to run our services? Yeah, okay.
It was. I haven't been in discussions necessarily for it to be expanded, but perhaps, Lauren, you can join us and
He's joining us at the table.
tell us how the discussions have been going.
Please, Lauren Blythe, go ahead.
And Commissioners. So I spoke to Procurement Manager Sean Humble about this one earlier today. So this, there is some history within the state of Oregon around guidelines and requirements for local preference policy in procurement. He needs some time to do some research on that and work with Council Vario to bring back options to the board that we might want to consider going forward. Such policy would be more generally applied to all procurement practices within the county, not specific to H&HS, even though that's where this initiated.
I'm fine with that. I'm interested in hearing what they have to say when they come back.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Lauren. Good slide into third base there. So Jessica, just for clarity, you said that was not scheduled to come back yet or had a date?
No, it is not scheduled to come back yet.
Okay, because we're waiting for some research. All right, good, thank you.
Next item, an assignment made August 27th from Commissioner Lovell, return to the board with an update/discussion on the status of moving the Glenwood Transfer Station. And that item has been scheduled for December 9th of this year.
Good.
Next assignment made September 9th. Oops, this was by Commissioner Farr. I do have an update I can read to the rest of the board regarding this item.
Please.
That was sent in by Sasha and Cassidy. And they state that staff anticipate having a summary of requirements and projected resources needed to achieve a comprehensive analysis of total costs. We plan to have a report to the board in December of 2025.
Good.
Next item then was an assignment made October 14th by Commissioner Buck, and work with the Row River Fire Response staff to schedule a presentation update regarding the main fire station project. And we do have that presentation scheduled for December 9th. And as the board can see, we are going to be having a busy December.
But we'll get a lot checked off our list.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Next item made October 21st by Commissioner Trieger. schedule time for Sheriff Wilkerson to provide an update to the board regarding the status of flock cameras, jurisdiction, duration, and status of the contract, the role of the board, the legal ramifications to Lane County, and possibly the current legal action taken against the city of Eugene. This assignment has been sent to staff, but as you can tell, it's very new, so I don't have any new updates yet. And the same applies to the next assignment, also made on October 21st. Assignment has been sent to staff. This is have staff in suicide prevention and law enforcement return to the board with information on how the extreme risk protection order toolkit could be used or promoted. And I clarified for staff as well, that didn't have to be an in-person, that could also be an email response.
Great, thank you, Jessica. I do want to point out, while this next one is Commissioner Farr, I did want to ask, because I don't see a date associated with, and this is, Chair Lovell mentioned this morning, the community event that was held last Thursday around safety and security for our AAPI community members. All 5 commissioners attended, as well as elected representatives up and down the ballot and across the region. It was a really powerful event. And I thought that the request for support actually met our rapid response protocol, and so I'm wondering what we can expect as a timeline for having a statement available that is a formal statement on behalf of this board to the community that we can put out there. I kind of thought that we'd have that by this week, that was something we could turn around a little more quickly.
Yeah, I'll need to check it. Do you have an update on that, Jessica?
I do not.
Okay. I don't either, so I'll need to check on it.
Thank you for identifying that sense of urgency, Commissioner Trieger. I thought the same thing, so I'm looking forward to that coming out sooner than later.
If we do
Commissioner.
that, that can be done in between now and our next meeting because you sign it as chair. So hopefully that work can continue and not wait for our board meeting.
Right.
Right, yeah, we've done that, that's right. We release it as a public statement, and then at the next board meeting after, it can be noted that we've done that for whoever's watching the meeting at that moment. Yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Our next item, also made October 21st, schedule a public safety funding work session with the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office regarding funding levels and need for service, potentially to be held before the December 16 funding priorities session. My understanding is that staff is working to identify a date for this work session. It's possible someone in the room may have more to say.
Oop, Judy Williams is making her way up here. I'm also wondering too, as Judy, you're making your way up here, is the last work session we had with the district attorney and sheriff and the folks, did they not lay out a lot of this public safety needs and levels for service and all that in there, or is there something more in depth that I'm not thinking?
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. The last work session was really focused on the work of the task force, and so we did do some presentations on what the DA and the sheriff presented to the task force regarding funding levels. And that was, a year ago of when the task force was working on that. So a little bit outdated information, but we are working on December 3rd as a potential. And I know, Commissioner Trieger, that potentially might be a conflict for you. We want to have all 5. So potentially we're looking at December 17th. It's a Wednesday as well.
And I did let Jessica know, if board business is scheduled for the 3rd and I have an opioid settlement board meeting, I would forego the opioid board meeting. I haven't missed very many of them, and because we are trying to get so much business in before year end, I would prioritize board business, so.
And just to clarify, this was for us to, really dive deep into some of the potential funding resources that the task force came up with. So in addition to just having our ongoing monthly meetings, in order for them to be productive for us and to parallel the process that the internal staff is doing, that we would have some in-depth work sessions
And so we came up at our last meeting with this particular idea.
All right. Thank you, Judy, for enlightening that.
The last, what I believe to be the last open assignment is from October 21st, made by Commissioner Lovall. Ask staff to partner with Travel Lane County's multi-use facility team to identify models or resources within the county and the community to help bring the reuse sites under consideration, to close and online for revenue generation. And just today, we were able to schedule this item on December 9th.
Beautiful.
The remainder of items on the log, you'll notice do not have a yellow to be determined or a green scheduled date. And these are items that I believe are ready to be closed. So I would like to review them though, so that we can hear from the originating commissioner that they agree that the item should be closed. The first one, this was the initial work session with Travel Lane County about the multi-use sports facility. And that that work session took place on October 21st.
I think we can eliminate that, even if that was Commissioner Farr's assignment.
Very good. We'll leave that on for now so that Mr. Mokrahajski can speak with Commissioner Farr to gain his approval.
All right.
Next item, report back on potential gap funding for Community Corrections Act. And that item returned to the board on October 14th for action.
That was done.
Yep.
If the board concurs that that is closed, we can remove it from the list.
Concur. Close, please.
Thank you. The next one then, work with OSU Extension Service staff to schedule a presentation before the end of the year regarding the OSU Extension levy up for renewal. And that presentation did take place on October 14th.
It did, and it was great. So that is closed.
Terrific. The next item, board request to receive quarterly updates on the Navigation Center on River Avenue. And then once these quarterly updates included in the homelessness update reports, and we have begun to do so. The first one took place on October 14th. And if that is adequate with the board, we could remove it from the list, knowing that it will continue with the quarterly updates.
Vice Chair, that's kind of your lane. What do you think?
Yeah, if they're going to continue, I think we're done. I think we can close it.
Thank you. Next item, this was the scheduling of the board meeting in Blue River, and we did do that on October 8th.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Terrific. Next item was a follow-up assignment from the legal lot verifications work session, and it was additional work scheduled. We did have this follow-up work session on July 29th. And so asking you, Chair Lovell, if your items were addressed and if this item is ready to be closed.
I think the item still has a gap in a couple of the things. One is the 3-member Land Management Audit Committee. We haven't really discussed that. It hasn't really come back to the board for any updates. And the steps I was hoping for in addressing that at a work session for chapters 13 and 14 was to put forth a procedure for the board to either look at cases that constituents wanted us to look at, to either decide to weigh in or not. There's really no formal way to do that yet. I know that previous boards have created a way not to do that, and so I was hopefully looking at ways to at least having some sort of procedures in line so that the citizens would know that if they needed a voice within the board, they could attain that to some degree.
Ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Chair. You're asking to direct staff to create a protocol or a process
Come back with suggestion for us.
with suggestions, but I don't recall the board asking if there was a majority of the board that wanted to direct staff to spend the time to do that work. that would be its own standalone assignment, right? Am I missing?
This one's just legal lot verifications and
Right.
property lines specifically.
Well, the work was around 13 and 14 and the history of the board's role in decision-making, so that was part of it. So it was kind of like, there's like three prongs to this. We did get work sessions on legal lot and property line adjustments, and we did have suggestions to look into a 3-member land management audit committee, and it kind of has stalled there. And we still haven't addressed the way that citizens can bring stuff before the board, if that's something the board wants to get involved with.
Let's bring it up when Commissioner Farr's here and keep.
Okay?
So are we closing this and then you'll make a new assignment that's more specific and narrow for the full board to see whether there's majority agreement to direct staff to do that work? Is that what I'm?
No, just keep it open, because we've already directed them to do that work, and it's already here. So I would just keep it open, and let's wait till Commissioner Farr gets back and pick this up for discussion.
So I'm reading it as a work session focused on those topics, that there was a work session that happened March 18th. And then the update was to return to the board with a work session focused on those 3 areas. Chapter 13 and 14, the history of the board's role in decision-making, and then the addition to that on April 1st, which was the idea of the subcommittee. I just want to get clear on, I'm reading the assignment as bringing a follow-up work session to the board on those topics, not that the staff had been directed, and I just want to create clarity on that.
All right, so I guess I need to readjust my understanding that it looks like. So if we're saying that that's been done, then what I need to do is to bring back some specifics about the 3-member land management audit committee, or what the board's role going forward would wish to be if we wanted to head that direction. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, all I'm saying is the way I'm reading this, and I just want to get clarity on it, the way I'm reading the assignment is that we had a work session, I was not at this work session, on March 18th. That there was a follow-up assignment at that time, because that was an original assignment, to have a work session that was held on the 18th. Then on the 18th, there's a request to return to the board with a follow-up work session that was focused on those following areas. So that's what I just want to get clarity on. Is that the case, that we're doing a follow-up work session, or did the board actually direct staff to do work around those areas?
What is the work session that was held July 29, 25?
The work session held on July 29th was in response to this board assignment.
To the original assignment, okay.
No, this
assignment.
board assignment, this follow-up assignment.
So it's been done, this is what I'm saying.
Okay. Then we can close that out, and I'll redirect another board item in the future.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item. And this was a request by Commissioner Seneca to have a work session regarding the Navigation Center and River Avenue. And that work session took place on July 9th.
Yep, it can be closed.
Thank you. Oops, I think I went too far. Sorry. Nope, not far enough. Work session, board assignment made June 4th by Commissioner Trieger. Report back to commissioners on the community benefits bidding process of subcontractors and whether the language is clear on expectations of the CBB.
Yep.
And this work session took place on April 29th.
Yes, the work session happened, and there's also been some follow-up conversation that's now sort of offline and doesn't need to be a full board assignment, so that can be closed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is one that Commissioner Farr will need to review regarding his request for a presentation from the Department of Justice on Oregon sanctuary law. Moving to the next one, made by Commissioner Seneca. return to the board with a presentation discussion on local access roads. And that work session was held on April 29th.
And we have a follow-up one, I think, right?
What's that?
I think we have a follow-up one on LARs.
Think about that too, yeah.
Yeah,
I think was
it was earlier.
back on the 20th.
About what
Yes.
the funds, what it would take, what the resources would be to actually bring those into the system.
Yes, exactly. We get to the bottom of the list, these will be older assignments that were completed a while ago. And wherever possible, I am trying to end an assignment and create a new assignment for follow-ups so that we don't have to have assignments open for long periods of time. So that is absolutely correct. This work session took place and a follow-up assignment has taken place and is open currently.
Perfect, thank you.
And the last two items on the list were also made by Commissioner Farr. So we will ask Mr. Mokrahysky to include those in his discussions via with Commissioner Farr.
Hopefully, we can just verify with them that he thinks they're done, because we think they're done.
Yeah, most of those of his were completed. I guess we haven't done this in a while. That's why we used to do it quarterly. It's a long list.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Wow. I'm not sure about you list takers, but I'm feeling a lightened load. How about you? Anybody else? Well done.
Crossing to-dos.
Like crossing things off, exactly. Jessica, thank you very much for your attention to detail on these matters and keeping track of this, keeping us on accountability, and also helping us check stuff off. Good work. All right, we've reviewed our assignments. We've checked some things off our list. We've come to the end of our day, unless there's any other business good for the order.
Is that review of assignments for the administrator review our two new assignments?
He already reviewed our assignments before we did that, so we are all out of steam, it looks like to me. And having that said, we will adjourn this meeting of the regular Board of County Commissioners. Have a great day.